or caller to allow any emergency traffic or anybody that needs to break in to do so. Speaking of emergency traffic, is there any emergency traffic or high priority traffic at this time? If so, please come now. Not hearing anything out there. Coming back. We'll go ahead and start our check-ins. So if anyone would like to join the Newcomers Roundtable net for this evening, please watch a call sign. As you do so, please do so phonetically. Also, along with your call sign, your phonetic call sign, also give me your name and address. Not address, I don't want your address. Your name and location. And then we'll wait to be recognized. So if you'd like to join the Newcomers Roundtable net this evening, please come now. And 1RXR, Eric in New Gloucester, Maine.
KC1MSQ, Cole in Gorham.
Hotel, Miriam and Lisbon, somewhere in Maine.
Kilo, Charlie 1, Juliet Mike Hotel, Brad, Waterboro, Maine, Echo Link.
This is Whiskey 1 Tango Golf Golf Tim over in Sanford, live on YouTube as well.
Kilo Alpha 1, Lima Echo Sierra, Jim in Westboro.
Alpha Charlie 1, X-Ray AC1GX, Windsing in Lewiston via Echo Link.
Hold on a second here. Hold on. This is KJ6JBH. So AC1GX, I gotcha. I'm thinking we had a double there, and I think the other caller was a lot smaller of a signal than Lindsay. So whoever was just trying to come in and you all doubled with Lindsay, please try again.
This is KC1LGK, Bob in Norway.
Kilo 1, Mike Sierra Romeo, Nick Gorham.
Did you get KC1AIH? I should have been number 2.
Miriam, yeah, I got you, but you were actually doubling with Cole, but he went ahead and lifted, and then I caught your name coming in. I didn't catch your call sign, but of course I remember that. But I caught you when after Cole lifted, so you're actually number 3 at this point. So this is KJ6JBH. Currently I have N1RXR, Eric, KC1MSQ, Cole, KC1AIH, Miriam, KC1JMH, Brad in Echo Link, W1TGG, Tim, Sanford, then we have KA1LES, Jim, AC1GX, Lindsay, KC1LGK, Bob, KC1MSR, Nick. This is KJ6JBH, currently taking check-ins for the Newcomers Roundtable net. If you'd like to join the net this evening, please throw out your call sign. Please do so phonetically. Also give me your name and location, and please come now.
November, Kilo 1 India, Roger in Falmouth.
Peaks Island.
Alright, so that wasn't a double, that was a triple. So, Roger beat out everybody with a cleaner signal. Then there was a smaller signal in there, or a pair of signals, and I think Miriam was one of them. Is that true, Miriam, KC1AIH?
Negative, I wasn't saying anything, but the gentleman on Peaks Island checked in.
Okay, so that Oh goodness gracious! Here, I'm looking at my history here real quick. Peaks Island. Okay, so that's KC1 NZD Rich out in Peaks Island. I got you down, Rich. Now, was there someone else in there as well?
Kilo Charlie 1, November, Quebec, Romeo, Brian and Shapley.
Paul, that would be Rick, R-I-C-K, on Peaks Island, KC1NZD.
You know, I've got it. I've got it written down two different ways here. So yeah, let me go scroll back to the page I saw you on, and I'll scribble that out. And there it is. And I'll get that down. So in case I go back and look at it again, I'll actually get it right. Sorry about that. Once again, it's a KJ6JBH. So see here after. That was KC1MSR, was where I left off. Well, actually, it was NK1I Roger. Then it was Rick and KC1NZD. Then KC1NQR, Brian out in Shapley. Last call. If anybody else would like to join the Newcomers Roundtable net for this evening, please throw out your call sign. Please do so phonetically. Also give me your name and location. Please come now.
Kilo Charlie 1, Hotel Juliet November, Wayland and Wyndham.
This is Kilo Charlie 1, Hotel Bravo Lima, Ben in Buxton.
November, Bravo, 9 Delta, Hill Terrace. Kilo Romeo 1, Zulu Alpha November, Frank in Plano, Texas via Echolink.
KC1JMH Link.
Right, sounds good. So I've got, let's see here, after, where in tarnation did I leave off? So there was Rick Peaks Island, KC1NQR, Brian and Shapley, then was KC1HJN Wayland, KC1HBL Ben, NB9D Neil. We got you tonight, Neil. Kind of barely in there, but you're definitely readable, so that's good. Hopefully it doesn't get any worse. Then we have Frank, K1, KR1 ZAN. Frank, thanks for joining us from Plano, Texas. Sounds great. Now, this is KJ6JBH with the Newcomers Roundtable Net. Today is the 3rd, 03 of January, 2021. Hot diggity dog. Since it is the first net of the month, being the 3rd, this is open mic night. So, basically, on open mic night, we get to bring up and talk about any topic that anybody's heart's desire. We really should keep it ham radio kind of sort of related. You know, that's pretty broad brush. You know, we could talk about a lot of things when we're talking about general interest of ham radio people. But either way, we should probably try to maintain some sort of ham radio flair to it. So let's take it up in the top of the list to Eric N1 RXR for anything at all that you may have ham radio related to Eric.
N1 RXR, good evening, Paul and everybody on the net. I do have one question. What are the specific details when it comes to reading solar data? Is that, what are the specific, how should I say, limits and stuff like that? Back to that, N1 RXR.
Roger. So you're referring to stuff like sunspot activity and meteor activity such as that in the way that it affects ham radio propagation? Is that kind of what you're shooting for, Eric?
Yeah, Roger, kind of like the electron flux, the proton flux, stuff like that, solar wind, magnetic field, X-rays, the AK, X, sunspot, helium line, all that good stuff. So if anybody could provide a little more detail on the numbers, that would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, Roger. So even if somebody knows at least of a website or something that would properly detail and cover such activities, that'd be great. We're not going to talk about solar winds though, because solar winds was in the middle of a big hack there a couple weeks ago, and it affected many businesses all over the world. So we won't talk about solar winds. All right. So yep. Bear in mind, Eric is N1RXR is looking for information pertaining to solar activity in relation to ham radio. So as we go down through the list, if you've got some info on that, that'd be fabulous if you could bring that forward. Let's take it to Cole and Gorham and KC1 MSQ for anything at all ham radio related. Out to you, Cole.
Well, I do have one thing. Let me save the other for the second go round. I got a weather station for Christmas, so now I can actually do actual reports when Skywarn Ham Radio is activated. That's about it. KC1MSQ, back to that.
Roger. Thank you, Cole. Yep. I'm sure Eric will be glad to hear that. Yep, my weather station's my front sidewalk. If it's wet, it must be raining. Got white stuff on it, snowing. If it's slippery as all get out, well, I guess the temperature was pretty cold. Let's take it to Miriam, KC1AIH, for anything at all. Out to you, Miriam.
KC1AIH. As far as the listings for solar weather and so forth, you might look on QRZ. They have a display on their home page of what the current conditions are. And I'm not sure, memory is not serving me too terribly well at the moment, but if you were to look on KQ1L's page, there may be some links on there which will explain a lot of these space weather a little bit better. Or just simply Google space weather, and they'll probably come up with more information than you ever want to know. I do have one subject, antennas. People are having problems with their antennas falling down in the weather, and for the next couple of months this will continue. And also people are talking about taking their new antennas that they got for Christmas and putting them up in the spring, or repairing their old ones and so forth. And my subject is safety. And my suggestion is do not use a ladder. That's not safe. Do not do it alone. Always have somebody on the ground who can at least call 911 if you fall. And be careful. Safety is safety. It's the most important thing. And remembering last year we had somebody come down off a tower. So we don't want to hear any more silent keys that have fallen off their ladders or broken something or ended up in hospital with COVID in the hospital too. So safety and practice safety. That's the only thing I can suggest as a subject. But definitely make sure you got somebody to put your ladder. CC1AI, back to that.
Warning, bullshit alert. That was bullshit.
people, and it's very disrespectful for everyone's time. So please, please don't do that anymore. Okay, all right. So yes, as far as Miriam's words, yes. If when you're climbing a ladder, always make sure there's someone there, as Miriam indicated, to at bare minimum to make sure that someone can call 911. If someone does need to climb a ladder or a tower or something, and they do not have a safety belt, you are more than welcome to use mine. If it goes around me, it'll go around just about everybody else, I would imagine, except for the largest of the fellas. But yep, tie off, full tie off. When you get up, at least when you get up to your working height, you tie off to something that's not going to move. Even if the ladder kicks out, well, you may be suspended off the ground with a major wedgie. However, at least you won't be bouncing off the ground, which is that sudden change of direction is what really tends to screw people up. So this is KJ6JBH. Feel free to give me a shout if you need that belt. You're absolutely welcome to borrow it. Let's take it out to Brad in Echo Lake, KC1JMH, for anything at all ham radio related. Out to you, Brad.
Well, KC1JMH in Waterboro. Don't really have much to speak of exactly. Been trying to work on a battery box, and every time I think I'm about ready to dive in and really get it done, I need yet another part, or I have the wrong piece, or, boy, just things never going to get off the ground. But I'm slowly making steps towards it. My recent bad luck also includes the LEDs on my Yuzu 991 decided to light up like a Christmas tree. And thankfully, I posted it on Facebook, on one of the biggest ham radio Facebook groups, literally called Ham Radio in all caps, with 68,000 members, to see if anybody out there had come across this. I called Yuzu support, and they had never heard of it. They're like, oh yeah, you gotta ship it to us, and we'll take a look at it. It's gonna be in quarantine in a box for 7 days, and it might be 30 days before they look at it. From what I'm reading, it's taken them 6 months to get to some people's radios, so I'm praying somebody out there has an idea. Someone did comment that they had the same problem, and they were without their radio for about 6 months while they fixed the loose ribbon cable. So I'm hoping it's not too cumbersome to get into this little box and fix that. Otherwise, I may need to enlist some help. Struggling with Echolink today. It seems to have ironed out the kinks, but I still want to figure out if there's a better way to get the receive sensitivity adjusted further. Have it key up on the internet users using CTS rather than Fox coming from the radio. Just tinkering stuff here mostly. KC1JMH, back to that. KC1JMH link.
Yeah, Roger, Brad. Yeah. Hopefully it's something just like that, just a loose connection or something. Because man, if it's something more in depth than that, and you've got to send it in for repair, that just sucks. Let's take it to Tim in Sanford, W1TGG, for anything at all. Out to you, Tim.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. I just want to let everybody know that we're streaming right now on YouTube. I've decided to try something a little different, see if we could, get it out to some non-hams. I know I haven't really participated much in the net as of late, but plan on changing that a little bit more, and maybe we can get some more people interested in ham radio. If you want to check it out, you can just do a YouTube search for W1TGG Radio Nerds, or check it out on radionerds.org. And with that, Paul, I'll just turn it back over to you. Thanks for running the net, and we'll talk to you again soon. W1TGG.
Roger. Thank you, Tim. Let's take it out to Jim in Westbrook, KA1LES, for anything at all. Out to you, Jim.
KA1LES, nice weather. There's an app, I think it's put out by NASA possibly, that gives you a bunch of information on solar activity, the proton wind and all of that stuff. So that might give you a little bit of help there. I do have a question myself. Has anybody had any experience with fusion, which is, I guess, something that's put out by Yaesu? It's a combination digital analog medium. I don't know a lot about it yet, but if anybody has any experience with it, excuse me, I'd like to hear about it. I'm just curious about it. Back to net, KA1OES.
Yep, Roger, thank you, Jim. Yep, so your question about system fusion. Yeah, you said, you use the term smartphone. Every time I hear that, my hairs on the back of my neck stand up. You know, my phone isn't any more intelligent than my computer. Matter of fact, yeah, it's certainly no more intelligent than my computer. Matter of fact, it's probably a little less intelligent because I can't really add much to my phone. I can add apps, but I can't switch hardware. I can't upgrade the foolish thing. But, yeah, we call it a smartphone. I'm not sure why. It certainly isn't very smart. It's just merely a computer with a phone application and an RF front end on it. But that's just Paul's soapbox. I'll go ahead and stand down at this point. See, that was Jim. Let's take it out to Lindsay. AC1GX out on Echolink for anything at all. And we certainly welcome any knowledge about system fusion or also the solar flux numbers and such. So Eric can know what all these blooming numbers mean. So like I said, let's take it out to AC1GX. Out to you, Lindsay.
Thank you. This is AC1GX. Yeah, Eric, you probably already know this, but maybe some other people don't realize this. You can mount the sunspots yourself with a telescope. You don't want to look at the sun with a telescope, but you do aim the telescope towards the sun and let the light enter the front of the telescope, and it comes out to the eyepiece. Do not put your eye there. What you do is put a piece of paper or some of the light screen a couple feet away from the eyepiece, and then focus until any details that are on the sun will appear. You can tell from the edges of the sun, you'll see the big dot, and that'll tell you how you're focused. And if you focused it well and there are sunspots, you can count them. And after doing that quite a few times, I'm sure some people might find it interesting to compare the results with their ham radio experiences. Another thing that happened this week, I have not heard any news of, but I was expecting to hear of, was the bombing down in Nashville wiped out all the internet and phone communications. So I was wondering how the ham radio people did, if they came to the rescue. So, as we claim, whether there were other ways that people ended up communicating and radio not so much. So I don't know, I haven't heard any heroic stories of communications from that area. And on a personal note, I have not been on the radio much. I've been in the hospital. I'm still here, but I can say Echolink is one of the best ways to get out once in a while. I've had tubes and stuff. I wasn't able to talk, so today I'm considering it pretty nice that I can say a couple words on here and be a part of the net. Although from here on out, I will be listening. So with that, this is AC1 Lindsay.
Timeout. N1BJX late check-in.
Yep, N1BJX we'll get to you right after Frank Cruzon. All right, thank you, Lindsay. Yep, sorry you're still in the hospital. That sucks. Hopefully everything's going well for you. Let's take it out to Bob in Norway. KC1LGK for anything at all ham radio related. Out to you, Bob.
This is KC1LGK. Yeah, there's a couple things.
One of them is on the KQ1L.com. There is a readout of solar and solar flares and also various things. So it's quite good, and it is updated every so many minutes. So it's pretty relevant. I know that from past experience that solar flares are very good for amateur radio communications, and it helps out a lot for long distance anyways, and also helps for local, depending on the frequencies you're on. Now, I have my problem. I have a noise that comes onto my receiver at exactly 5 minutes of 8, and it is pretty constant. It starts out fast, it sweeps across my readout on my screen, and it's a very high amplitude noise. And as the day goes by, it slows down, it doesn't sweep as much, and also, from my indications is that there is a gentleman down the road from me that has a solar array, about 12 of them, 12 sections, and I'm believing that the inverter on it is causing the problem. Now, what do I do to eliminate that noise? So I'll pass that on to the net. It's KC1 LTK, clear.
Comment, KC1AIH.
Go ahead, Miriam.
Without any research, my thought would be you need a filter, either a low pass or a high pass filter, to filter that noise out. That's the only thing that comes to mind right at the moment.
Roger on that. Yeah, I'm thinking about certain filters that can filter it out. It's on every day exactly 5 minutes of 8, and usually ends about around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's my sense. And Paul, if you know of any company that sells those, let me know. Back to net control. It's KC1LTK.
So, Bob, I'm trying to gain a little bit better understanding. So you're talking about a signal that pops up on your HF rig, and it sweeps up through the bands. Now, when you say they have a photovoltaic array, it's probably important to go cast your eyes. Maybe be a nice neighbor. Head on over there and ask him about his photovoltaic array and ask him how he likes it and how it works. Because the old ones, basically the output off the panel would come down and hit your charge controller, and that would regulate the power going to the battery, and of course it would also divert power, in such any unused power of a hot water heater or a load resistor, being whether it's air cooled or whether it's in a hot water tank or something. So you may want to talk to them about it. Don't talk to them don't approach it in the sense that you're having problems. Just kind of gather information and act like you're interested. It's kind of a cool thing. Now, the new photovoltaic arrays, the solar panels, a lot of them come with their own little inverter on the back side of each panel. It's like a 270 watt inverter. And it probably depends largely upon the size of the panel. But either way, so if it's like a new system, if it's grid tied, if he's not charging the battery bank, he's just using the utility as his battery bank, it's very possible each panel, each of those 12 panels has its own inverter. So I think what you also need to do before you start feeling that it's something specific, somehow you need to get some sort of directional antenna or some sort of way of specifically identifying the source of that noise. The last thing you want to do is start puckering up a neighbor because he gets defensive over his brand new solar array that he just spent big bucks for. So that's kind of how I approach it. I'd go talk to him a little bit, find out a little bit about it, and I'm sure he'd be more than happy to let you take a look at it. And while you're looking at it, you can take a look at certain things. Now, if there's not an inverter on each panel, then it's going to be DC all the way down the charge controller. You may just I would check it out. I would check it out without being aggressive in any which way or fashion. That's just my story, and I'll stick to it. Let's take it to Nick and Gorham before I get bit by the alligator. KC1 MSR. Out to you, Nick, for anything at all.
This is KC1 MSR. Happy New Year, everyone. The only thing I had, I've mentioned it a few times in the past net. I was planning to do a little round table with my Cub Scouts some night. So I'm actually going to plan to do that this Wednesday. What is that day? What's the 6th? Wednesday the 6th. And we'll do it on this repeater. If any of you guys happen to be around that night, I'll tune in and answer a couple questions. So the guys and boys would appreciate that. Considering what to do if this frequency is in use, the other repeater that's pretty local to us, Gorham, is the one in Westbrook, the 147.27, so maybe I'll use that as a backup. But at any rate, if anybody's around that night, between 6:30 and 7:30, we'll probably be on the air. So make a couple contacts. That's it. KC1 MSR, back to that.
All right. So everybody pencil that in this coming Wednesday, which is 6th of January, on the 09, this repeater here, primarily. And if this is busy with Skywarn or something, you may flip over to the 27 at 18:30 to 19:30 p.m. So, yep. So if everybody gets a chance, please just be on the radio and give Nick a hand with the Scout troop. Thanks, Nick. Let's take it out to Roger in Falmouth, NK1I, for anything you may have. Out to you, Roger.
This is NK1I. For Eric, try www.spaceweatherwoman.com. It's Dr. Tabitha Stowe. She does either weekly or daily podcast and video stuff on space weather. And you may find it helpful that she'll talk about like the fluxes in the 80s, and things should be better. They're down in the 70s, and it's going to be marginal communication. So it's kind of gives you an idea of what the numbers mean and stuff. And she does show the charts and stuff. She's pretty good about talking about space weather. That's what her doctorate is in, and she does that. It's spaceweatherwoman.com. I've been trying to set up today. I just got this morning, after I found where the post office left it, a copy of ICOM's remote control software for the IC705. Actually works with a 7300. Looks like it works with a number of their radios. And I've got the 705 to try and work with, and trying to get that set up. And yes, I've heard solar inverters are very noisy. They do, however, have to meet the FCC requirements. They don't interfere with communications because they're not a communications device, just like a computer. They do need to meet the standards. You might want to try an AM radio. What you didn't really say is what frequency. Is it coming in on all frequencies or just a few on HF or what? might help isolate it. But I have seen that people use like a shortwave receiver, a handheld they can walk around with and find the stronger signal. A loop antenna, if you've got access to one, will also is directional, fairly directional, and you can get some ideas of where it's coming from. Anyway, KJ6, JBH, net control, NK10.
Sounds good, sounds good. Thank you, Roger. Yep, all good suggestions. Also, having it come on specifically at 7:55 in the morning. I'm not entirely sure that makes sense for a photovoltaic array. It seems to me that the inverters, if that's the concern, the inverters will come up and do their thing when there's a demand, and on overcast days versus a clear skies day, the solar panels are going to put out a different voltage. There's going to be a different voltage curve there. On an overcast, grungy day like we've had a few of, it's not going to come up at 7:55 like the previous day that was sunny. I'm just kind of concerned, Lindsay, that something doesn't make sense. What you may want to do is put that radio on battery, and at 7:55, run down. Well, you better check with the wife first, but run downstairs and hit the main. Just flip the power off of your house and bring your radio up on battery, and just make darn sure that it's not something that is going on that you forgot about. A coffee maker or something kicking off. So just to be sure, And yes, the idea of just grabbing an AM radio, a little pocket AM radio or anything, and stick it in the car, put it up on the dashboard, turn the volume up so you can hear that raspy noise, and start driving, and see where it gets real loud, and see where you're at. That could be interesting. Let's see here. That was Roger. Let's take it out to Rick in Peaks Island. KC1 and ZD for anything at all. Out to you, Rick.
KC1NZD, I'd like to thank everybody out there who's made me feel welcome into the ham radio world. It's been about 3 months now since I got my license, and it's been great. People are terrific, and hopefully we can welcome any new members to the ham radio world and make them feel like you have made me feel. It's a good thing. And yes, I have been in the world of inverters for 20 years of solar power for my house. And if I, understand what you're saying correctly, if you're referring to the inverter that I'm thinking of, it's a device that runs from the battery bank and makes AC out of 12 volts or 24 volts DC, and it is not related to the panel's charging at all. That would be the control unit, which is a whole different device. In some cases, they do make chargers that are inverters, but that's a different type of charger running off a generator or some such thing. And definitely take an AM radio and tune to no stations. Go for a walk. It will tell you a lot. My inverter makes more interference when there's more demand on it. Like when the refrigerator comes on. But I can't make any sense out of a specific time that you would be getting that noise. So I'd be careful about blaming the solar array person. But there's nothing wrong with walking around in front of the house with an AM radio. You might find it's a whole different source. But I don't understand the timing on it, so you'll have to research that. And I wanted to mention one more thing during our discussion about power and power supplies. Paul mentioned having a battery tightly sealed in an ammo box out of the way, out of sight. And that's probably a good thing, except that I wanted to mention that, especially if it's a lead acid battery, but any battery, when you're charging a battery, you really need to vent them. They produce gases. And the gases are corrosive, if you remember what your car battery used to look like before they sealed them up. And then that gas is also explosive, so you just want to vent it while charging, and then you can go ahead and close the box up or whatever. And if you have a permanent installation in a box, could definitely consider a vent. It's a good thing. KC1NZD, back to net.
Sounds good. Thank you, Rick. Yep. Whenever you got gas, you better vent, or else you'll have problems. But yes, and of course, if it's a lead acid battery, of course, that gas will be hydrogen. Hydrogen? No. Yes, I think hydrogen. Whatever it is, it's explosive as all get out. So yes, you definitely want to vent that stuff and get it away from certainly any sources of any ignition or anything. So let's take it out to Brian in Shapley, KC1NQR, for anything at all. Out to you, Brian.
This is KC1NQR. Good evening, Paul, and everybody on the net. Hope everybody had good holidays. Like everybody else, I kind of chasing the noise bug myself, but mine's the mobile unit inside my truck. I've tried different routes of the power wires and the ground wires, and I know I have them directly to the battery. I've tried the choke route. I've tried 3 or 4 different things. I think I'm about ready to give up and turn it over to the pros, and maybe it has to have some kind of filter on that. So I got a few friends that I can talk to, and we'll take that Yaesu over and see if they can get it straightened out for me. But other than that, that's about all I have tonight, so I'll turn it back to you. And this is KC1NQR.
Sounds good. Thank you, Brian. This is KJ6JBH with the Newcomers Roundtable Net. Let's take it down to Waylon in Wyndham, KC1HJN, for anything at all. Out to you, Waylon.
This is KC1HJN. I do have a couple of things. First off, I swept my antenna with my 20 through 6 meter vertical with my analyzer, and I found out that has some issues. I'm not sure if something came out of adjustment or if it's something on the cable, but the SWR I noticed is a bit higher than it used to be. So I need to take a look at that. And also, my microphone was having a bit of trouble, but it turned out it was just a bunch of dust within the contacts. So if anybody's having trouble with their microphones randomly letting off the key, then check the connections and check for dust in the connectors. And the third thing is I have a weather station as well that I got for Christmas, and I think I need to get it higher. I need to get it above the roof line, but I didn't know if there was an ideal height to have it at. It's an all-in-one unit. You can't separate the sensors or anything, but I didn't know if there was an ideal height to get an accurate wind measurement, but also get an accurate temperature and humidity measurement for ground level. If anybody has anything on that, I would be happy to hear it. Back to net, KC1HJN.
All right, Waylon, I was waiting for someone to jump in for a comment on that. You know, I don't really know a whole lot about the little weather stations. I really don't. Now, I was reading, I think I was reading maybe 3 weeks ago or a month ago about wind generators. And of course, a wind generator is something that you want to put up and have it feel the full effects of the wind, of course, because you're trying to extract the power from this wind to turn it into a voltage and current. So, and I believe on the wind generators, they said that it should be at least 10 feet higher than the highest object around. So, and of course, that being the case, you'll probably also get less turbulence as well, because turbulence is, well, it sucks up energy. It's not going to, turbulence is not going to give you the clean power from the wind, because it's not just kind of like in a horizontal plane. So I would probably, and of course part of your issue is you're also fighting with, how much wire do you have to play with? So, maybe if you can't get it up higher than, 10 feet higher than the nearest obstacle, maybe move it away from the obstacle. Maybe, stand up a pair of, top fence posts a little further from the house to kind of try to get it away from that wind modifying object. Just my thoughts. Like I said, I don't know much about weather stations, but that was my reading on wind generators. So hopefully you can take something from that. Let's take it out to Ben in Buxton, KC1 HBL for anything at all. Out to you, Ben.
Comment.
You hold just a second, Ben, on that, and we'll go up to the comment.
When I put my station up, the National Weather Service suggests 33 feet for the optimal height. KB1010, Long Island.
All right, I didn't catch that call sign. Could you throw that one more time, please, at me? KB, what?
KB1 OSN, Kilo Bravo 1, Oscar Sierra November, Long Island, Maine.
Sounds great. So that's about. All right, great. Thank you for jumping in and offering that bit of information. That's always great. Let's take it out to Ben, KC1 HBL, for anything you may have. Out to you, Ben.
Yep, good evening, Paul, and good evening to everyone on the net. Over to Bob's noise issue, I like your idea of isolating everything from the house with a car battery. Shut the main off at 10 minutes of 8 and see what happens. And also, if it comes on at 5 minutes of 8, I think maybe it was some sort of business possibly firing up for the day, some sort of machinery that makes RF, or maybe a marijuana grow house that's lights come on at 5 minutes of 8. I don't know, but anyways, good to hear Lindsay in there on the Echo Link, and I'm following along with YouTube with W1TGG on the YouTube channel, so we'll send it back over to you, Paul. KC1 HBL.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ben. Yep. Good idea on that grow house. Yeah, I don't know much about the grow lamps. I think for the most part they're fluorescent, but yeah, they could very well throw out some RF. I know they're different. They're a different lamp than what we're accustomed to. So not sure what the deal there is. So yeah, you're right. Something that trips at 7:55 in the morning. It's like, man, that sounds like something is on a timer. And we've got to sit there and say, what is on a timer? That would be tripping at that time. So good idea, Ben. Thanks. Yes, a grow house. They want them babies on a timer because they want that to. Although I don't know, maybe I don't know. Either way, let's take it out to Ben in Paris and B9D. Ben. Neil in Paris. Sorry about that, Ben. Sorry also to Neil. Take it out to NB9D and I'll shut up. NB9D, KJ6JBH, if you're with us, it's your time for anything at all, ham radio related. Up to you, Neil. JBH. You know, unfortunately, Neil, you were once again you when you checked in, you came in, you know, a little bit of static, but we could read you. Unfortunately, I could tell it was you. I could tell you were communicating, you were speaking. You know, you kept dropping out of the repeater, but unfortunately, once again, the noise monster was kicking your butt. You know, I've got a question. If anybody happens to know the answer for this on the second go round, if you could speak to it, that'd be wonderful. I was wondering if perhaps some sort of DSP may help filter some of that noise out, so we can pick Neil out of the lineup a little bit better. If somebody knows anything about DSP, because I've not messed with it, anybody knows anything about DSP and its ability to filter some of that noise out, so maybe Neil would be a little easier to hear. If you could speak on that, that'd be fabulous. But in the meantime, I'll shut up and let me take it down to Frank, KR's 1ZAN, down in Plano, Texas. Out to you, Frank, for anything at all.
Thank you, Paul, and good evening to the net. This is KR1ZAN, Frank in Plano, Texas. Well, when you come toward the end of the list, and you made a bunch of notes, there's a lot of things to talk about, but I'll try and just make a few comments here. On the solar panels, if it's a commercially installed installation and you think that that's the source, I would encourage that neighbor to contact their installer. In many cases, there's a fix for that can be installed. You can't put a filter in to clean up anything it's generating. On the weather station, Waylon, on the National Weather Service, weather.gov, I don't recall the exact names, but they've got several educational forums on there that give some details on how to install a home weather station and what a proper one is. I went to a seminar a couple of years ago, and it was basically in a residential area. Don't expect to get anything accurate. It'll be all relative. So the comment about 33 feet made some sense in terms of the height above a typical two-story house or typical trees. If you have tall pine trees, they're still going to be in the way. And I probably should reset to standby one. Let's see, on solar info, I sent Eric some information. I'll mention this to everyone else. If you go on the ARRL website and up in the search function, type in propagation predictions or propagation info. They've got a very good site that's got about 20 articles or so, some very intense articles on solar propagation, and that's a very good place to start. It takes you off to a lot of places to do a bunch of reading. And while we're on the website, the question was asked about the bombing in Nashville. The ARRL had a very good story on their web news, as well as in the latest ARRL letter that talked about the readiness of the ARES and RACES groups in Nashville. I don't know that they were necessarily used, but they certainly were on standby and offering their help. And I got myself an Alinco DJ MD5 for Christmas, and so that's going to get me on DMR, and I hope to be able to check into some of the DMR activities up in Maine from time to time. Miss talking to you guys on a regular basis. Good to hear so many folks on, and my wife Nancy, K5NCK, also extends her greetings. A Happy New Year to everyone from down here in Texas. Back to net. This is KR1ZAN.
Roger. Thank you, Frank. Thank you for that. Hopefully everybody got their information written down. Let's take it out to, I believe it's BJ, N1BJX. I believe BJ's in Kennybunk. Out to you, BJ.
Roger, thanks, Paul. Good evening to everybody on the net tonight. N1BJX here. I don't have too much going on. I did head out to Jackson, New Hampshire for a couple days to spend New Year's, which was really awesome. I took the kids out there with my wife, and one of the evenings, afternoons rather, we discovered a trail behind the hotel, and I took the 705 out there and hiked about 1.5 miles into the woods up the side of Eagle Mountain, and I made a couple contacts from the 705 with a PAR NFEDS 10, 20, 40 trail-friendly NFED, and was able to get down to Boa Vista, Brazil. So that was about a 3,000-mile contact with 10 watts. I had a little Bio-NO battery. So that was sideband. I haven't done a lot of digital on the 705. I have used digital on it. I've done wireless digital with it, where I've got a Linux client that allows you to basically pull it acts in the same way as the RSBA1 software, except it's the client side. So the 705's got the server built into it, and you can use the Linux client to connect to it and run FTA. You can run all the apps. It brings the sound card to the client side, and it brings all that stuff over, so you can do it all wireless. You don't need any USB cables or anything, which is cool. So, but overall, I like to operate QRP out in the field and just run that little trail-friendly antenna. It runs great. Really, really awesome little package there. So that's about all I have. I'm probably going to post that video on Tim's website, radionerds.org. It's on YouTube already, but it's not really linked to any sites or anything. So I'll bug him in a little bit and do that. Anyway, I'll send it back to you, Paul. Thanks a lot, everybody. N1BJX.
Sounds good. Thank you, BJ. Yeah, a little PAR NFED. Yeah, I keep seeing ads for those. It sounds like you've had pretty good luck with that. Yeah, it's pretty good shot there with 10 watts. And I take it you about threw out your arm hurling that thing up into a tree or something. This is KJ6JBH. Let's see here. Well, we had KB1OSN jump in for a comment. Yep, I wrote that down right. KB1OSN. Did you want to jump in, KB1OSN, and for anything at all ham radio related? Out to you if you care to.
This is Jason, Long Island, Maine, KB1OSN. And no, I have really nothing to add. Have a good evening. Happy New Year.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jason, for jumping in and helping us out. The more the merrier. The more different experiences we have on the net, the better shot that we have of answering people's questions. So it's always good to have people listening in and jumping out and helping out. So I always appreciate that. This is KJ6JBH with the Newcomers Roundtable Net. We're currently at the bottom of the check-in. Let's go out for additional check-ins if someone wishes to join for the second half of the lightning round, I guess, if you will. So if you would like to join the Newcomers Roundtable Net for the second round, please throw out your call sign. Please do so phonetically. Also give me your name and location, and please come now.
Whiskey Zulu 1 Juliet, Steve in Brunswick.
Kilo Sierra 1, Alpha Oscar Tango, Ron in Denmark.
C1PN Rex, Duramain Portable.
Real quick, Rex, could you throw out your call sign one more time, please?
Kilo 1 Papa November. Kilo 1 Papa November.
Roger, got it this time. Anybody else who'd like to join the Newcomers Roundtable Net, please come now. Not hearing any others. Let's take it to Steve in Brunswick. WZ1J for this is is open mic night tonight, so pretty much anything you wish to bring up, and ham radio related, of course, it would be great. Bring it forth, and we'll discuss it. Food for thought, anything at all. It's out to you, Stephen.
Okay, Paul, WZ1J in Brunswick. No, nothing. I'm just checking in, listening, so that's about it. Loading the wood stove. Got supper out of the way, yada yada. Now I'm eating a double chocolate orange Milano Pepperidge Farm cookie. They're awful addictive, you know. That's about it. Hang in there. I'll be monitoring. WZ1J.
Sounds good, Steve. This sounds like it's just like a Pringles potato chip. You just can't eat just one. So let's take it out to Ron in Denmark. KC1 AOT for anything at all. Out to you, Ron.
Hi there, everybody. Of course, I'm hoarse as soon as I start talking. Sorry about that. On the weather station. In the box with the weather station when you got it, there should have been an instruction manual. And that manual should have listed a recommended height and all other things for setting it up. So check that if you haven't already. And orange Milano is yum. I don't think I have anything else. Back to that.
KC1JMH link.
All right. I always say instruction manuals are for people with no imagination. Usually I only go to those when I've failed. Thanks, Ron. Let's take it down to Rex, K1PN, for anything at all. Out to you, Rex.
Yeah, good evening, guys. K1PN here. And Steve, that bag of orange Milanos wouldn't last around me. I'd eat the whole doggone bag. That's the problem with those bags of Milanos. And anyway, good to hear everyone in there. And some of you newer guys, don't be afraid to buy some of these older rigs. They're kind of fun to play with, easy to work on, that kind of thing. And besides, some of us old guys need to start unloading the old gear that we can't pick up anymore. It's too heavy, high. So anyway, good to hear everyone this evening. And that's my 2 cents. Back to net control, K1PM.
Sounds good. Thank you, Rex. Yep. If you missed Miriam's net, he didn't advertise anything up there. This is the newcomer's net, so if you have something that would be good for a newcomer, you're welcome to throw it out there if you care to. All right, so this is we're going to go through another round here. This is going to be for, once again, anything at all ham radio related. It need not necessarily be a topic. It could be observation, something you saw, something you read about, something you thought was cool, something you thought was crazy, something you have an interest in and you've been afraid to ask. Anything at all. So let's take it up to, Eric. Eric, you had a bunch of people give reference to your question about the, let's see here, about the solar activity. So, let us know if that was able to fit the need, and if you have anything else for the group. We'll take it out to Eric, N1 RXR.
N1 RXR. I think that covers it, Paul. And thanks, Frank, and everybody for the information. I got the email, Frank, if you're listening. So I'll look more into that here very shortly. And good evening, Jason, if you're listening. Hope you're doing well up there. And so far, so good. I think that basically covers it for tonight. to wish everybody a Happy New Year's. And remember to stay safe, stay happy, stay positive, and hopefully things will come back together again eventually. Back to that, N1RXR.
Sounds good, thank you, Eric. Yeah, just put on a little bit of Bob Marley there. Don't worry, be happy. Let's take it down to Cole and Gorham, KC1 MSQ for anything at all. Out to you, Cole.
KC1 MSQ, I don't really have much to add. Like I said, I was saving something, and Dad got me a new ARRL calendar for Christmas, and there's a lot of crazy stuff in it. There's anything from cartoons of kids my age getting their ticket in 1932 to 1956 QST magazine covers in there. And also they sent a reprint of the 1915 QST magazine that, man, that is crazy. We were looking at the radios in there, it's like, things were huge. They were probably the size of, I don't know, probably the size of a small file cabinet. Yeah, that's pretty much it. KC1MSQ, back to net.
Sounds good. Thank you, Cole. Yep. Things have definitely shrunk, except for my waistline anyway. Let's take it out to Miriam in Lisbon, KC1AIH for anything at all. Out to you, Miriam.
KC1AIH. Not much more tonight, I don't think. Everybody have a good year. Keep your head down. Don't get bit by the bug. And Mr. BS, good evening to you too.
Oh, there you go. This is KJ6GABH with the Newcomers Roundtable Net. Let's take it out to Brad on Echo Link. Out for anything at all. KC1JMH, out to you.
This is KC1JMH, the Echo Link here in Waterboro. I'm in the Echo Link node. Lindsay's disconnected not too long ago. Well, a big net tonight. I took a lot of notes. Someone mentioned System Fusion. I've been dabbling with it, C4FM and the internet linking or rooms and whatnot. There's a repeater out in New Hampshire, a couple of them actually. Ospey, New Hampshire and Farmington, New Hampshire, I think they said it is. The Farmington one's one I connect to, and they have a weekly net at 8 o'clock on Friday nights for the Wolf Pack, which is a bunch of link repeaters and digital nodes and whatnot. And a bunch of good people on that from around New Hampshire. To speak on how it works, I can't really tell you much. Some other noise in the background, my son's being silly. I know you can hit GM on your radio and pull a list of rooms, but I haven't had a whole lot of luck connecting to them. I do know that Bob, N1MTA, and Mark, N1SMP, I believe, has been using Mark's node up in Norway, or that area. Quick break here. I'll back up Roger on the Space Weather Woman. She's awesome. I discovered her on some ham podcasts that they rebroadcast, and her basically weather reports, really. They're awesome. I learned a lot from them. For Bob, I believe it was, LGK, I picked up something that you might find handy. Totally turn off the main breaker and see what happens, but I found this device from the company, or the people that make the nano DNA, called a Tiny SA. It's a spectrum analyzer. It comes with a variety of antennas, and you can set the bandwidth for it to scan on, and you can see what activity is in the area. And I've stumbled across some interesting things like pager system that is broadcasting some interesting information in free clear text. Anyway, I'll play some of myself in trouble. When I Bitly Alligator. Frank, you mentioned getting on DMR. That's fantastic news. The DMR Mark network up here, the NEDECN, is linked to a Canadian internet link for hotspot users. I believe it's something like IPS2 CAN Turbo. And if you go on NEDECN, sign up for their mailing list, or Google them and find the Google groups where the email reflector is hooked up. You can look at the past chatter about how it all works and all that. It's very, very helpful. And lastly, I want to hook up with a fellow from Guam that, just a second. Sorry about that. I laid the dad law down from the squeaky toy. Now the dog's got it. I wanted to hook up with the fellow from Guam that's doing the radio activity with the Cub Scouts on Wednesday. I had a little bit of trouble hearing him on the repeater, so maybe you can give me a call at 838-6629. I'm the den leader for the Tiger Cubs. We meet on Tuesdays, but there's another couple of dens that meet on Wednesdays. Maybe we can hook the kids up. Anyways, that's it for me. KC1GMH. Back to net.
Sounds good. Thank you, Brad. Let's kind of wait for the repeater to drop. Let's take it. I think that was Nick. I think that's Nick that's working with the Scout. So, Nick, when we get down to you, make sure you got Brad's number right. Let's see here. Let's take it out to Tim in Sanford, W1TGG. Although I don't know, maybe maybe if we're streaming live on YouTube, maybe we shouldn't be throwing out phone numbers. Just a thought. Let's take it out to Tim, W1TGG, for anything at all. Out to you, Tim.
Yeah, probably not a good idea, but I don't think that there's all that many people watching anyway. 6 people watching, so I think they're all pretty local anyway. So with that, Paul, I don't really have anything else to say. I appreciate, you, like I said before, you running the net and all, and like I said, I'm going to try to do this more in the future, and we'll see where it goes from here. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you.
Sounds good. Thank you, Tim. Yep, thanks for setting that up. And for those listening on YouTube, please don't call Brad. Unless Brad wants it to. I don't know. We'll let Brad speak to that if he wants. Let's see here. Let's take it out to Jim in Westbrook, KA1LES. For anything at all, out to you, Jim.
KA1LES. I don't have anything further to add. Thanks for the net tonight, running the net, Paul. Thank you, Brad, for the information on system fusion. I'm going to look into that a little more detail. Hi to everybody on YouTube. And that's all I got to say. Back to net, KA1LES.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jim. Let's take it up to Lindsay, if you're still up on Echolink. Was it you that dropped out? Either way, Lindsay, if you're still up on Echolink, or if you're still with us, AC1GX, out to you.
KC1JMH link.
Actually, this is KJ6JBH. Lindsay had indicated that he was going to be listening on the second go-round, so let's go ahead to Bob in Norway, KC1LGK, for anything at all. Out to you, Bob.
This is KC1LGK. Well, I thank everybody for the suggestions, and I will try each one of them. And it seems that this particular noise that comes in is pretty wide. So, and like I said, it slows down after an hour or two. So I'm going to try the power, and it's only on, I found by tracing that it's only on HF frequencies on 80 meters, 75, and down below on 40 and below, it's also there too. So it's not something that it's only on one particular frequency. The other thing too is the gentleman that's interested in fusion. You can go to the Yaesu website and yaesu.com and go to that website and click on information on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, and it will take you to a section on what fusion is about. I have it on my radio. It's FT991A, and I do listen to the GM, General Calling, and also on the Wolfpack and all the others. It's very simple on this radio, but some other radios I don't know about. So, first of all, if you want to use it on there, find a node or a repeater that has set up for fusion. That would be my best guess. And other than that, I'll turn it back to net control. This is KC1LGK clear.
Sounds good. Thank you, Bob. You know, I was just thinking, Bob, you're just in case, if you have internet access, you may be able to jump up to the SDR radio up in what is it, Sebago, I believe it is. I believe it's Sebago. Jump up to the 80-meter SDR radio up in Sebago. For some reason, Sebago doesn't feel right. But either way, and see if you can hear that noise up in that neck of the woods. That could be an interesting test, just to see if that's something that the folks out towards that neck of the woods hear, because that's really not all that far from you. Just a thought. Thanks, Bob. Let's take it out to Nick and Gorham, KC1 MSR. Out to you, Nick, for anything at all.
KC1 MSR. No, nothing to add. I just acknowledge I got your phone number here, Brad. 838-6629 is what I wrote down. So I'll give you a call and we can chat. KC1 MSR. Back to that.
Comment, KC1AIH.
Go ahead, Miriam.
In retrospect, I think what this sounds like is on 80 meters is the howler. Now, this is a noise that travels, and it's not just here. It's been over in Knox County and other areas. And what it will do is it will go up and down the 80-meter band, or the 75-meter band, actually. It has gotten down into the lower end of the 80-meter band, but it's in constant motion. And when I'm on the Seagull net, and if I have the howler in the background, what I do is I turn on my notch filter, and there's about 500 cycles that I can actually notch it out so I can hear what they're saying. But I have an impression that this is something that's in the power system as a whole, and it's basically, I call it the howler. So I'm not sure what can be done to stop it from howling. But all we can do is just simply use filters in your radios. The 991 has a really good set of filters. But try your notch filter. That's what I do.
Sounds good. Thank you, Miriam. Let's see here. That was we left off with Nick. So let's take it to Roger in Falmouth and K1I for anything at all. Out to you, Roger.
This is NK1I. Yeah, I agree. 33 feet or 10 meters is actually the world meteorological standard for an anemometer. One thing you need to be aware of, though, is don't place it over a roof. A peaked roof, as the wind hits it, it creates a vector that ends up going straight up and interfering with the horizontal motion of the wind, and pretty much give you a pretty inaccurate reading depending on exactly how the wind is blowing and how it's hitting the roof, and where the anemometer is located. So you need to get it away from the roof at least a few feet, out into a more open area. Probably you get 4 or 5 feet away, it'll help quite a bit. But if you're directly over a roof, the wind hits it and follows the pitch of the roof and ends up in the horizontal stream of the air, and you're actually going to go way down. It'll either increase or decrease the wind speed depending on how the wind is hitting the roof. And somebody mentioned, I'm sorry I didn't catch the name, about the ICOM Linux software. I didn't catch the name of the software, but when you come back around, I'll try to be more attentive this time. Wish I had known about it before I spent my money on the ICOM software that runs on Windows, because it sounds like something that might run on a Raspberry Pi on Linux might actually be a better solution for what I'm doing. Anyway, that's about all I got for tonight. Thanks again, Paul, for running the network. And this is NK1I back to net control.
Sounds good. Thank you, Roger. I think that was BJ talking about that. But if it wasn't, whoever it was that brought that up, please bring it back up for Roger when we get down to you. Let's take it out to Rick in Peaks Island, KC1 NZD, for anything at all. Out to you, Rick.
Well, I don't have a lot more going, but this looks like this week I'll be able to pick up my radio from my friend Ed in South Portland. W1XAW has programmed my new FT2980, so I'll be bringing that home and setting it up with for the time being, the Comet M24 mag antenna on a piece of sheet metal until spring, when I can hook up an outdoor antenna. So I'll be looking forward to more power and possibly a better signal. I think I've been doing pretty well with this handheld, this little 7-watt ICOM. I'm pleased with it, and it's remarkable how long the battery goes on this thing. I mean, the antenna, actually, the rubber ducky on this thing gets hot after a while, and you'd think it would wear the battery down quicker, but it's been great. And while we're on the subject of power, I'm thinking that Neil, NB9D, mentioned one of these times that he had his power up higher when he checked in and then turned it down to conserve energy, and that's not working, Neil, at all. You're going to want to crank it up, not down. And if you're running off a battery directly, that, I don't know what you're using for radio, but on high power, it's easy for a radio to draw like 200 watts, maybe 15 or more amps. And if you just have a normal battery, you're going to knock that voltage down to ridiculously low, 10 volts or something, 10 or 11. You might want to try running your rig directly from a regulated power supply that's connected to your inverter. And I think you'd get a lot better results that way. I can't be sure, but you do come in better at first, and then it becomes unintelligible. So that's my comment. Thank you so much for having the net, and Happy New Year to everybody, and hopefully we'll be having many of these roundtable discussions in the next 50 weeks, 52 weeks. KC1NZD, back to net.
Sounds good. Thank you, Rick. Yep. Ed's a good guy. I like Ed. You need to razz him, though, because he's got that old Johnson Viking. He blew that. He let the magic smoke out of that thing 2 years ago, it seems. We need to razz him so he gets off his tuchus and gets this Johnson Viking fixed. And anyway, thanks. Let's take it out to Brian in Shapley, KC1 and QR for anything at all. Out to you, Brian.
This is KC1NQR. Cole was talking about the old-time radios. if he gets a chance to go on YouTube, I don't know how many old-timers like me ever remember the old Andy Hardy series, but there's a short clip with Andy Hardy on the old ham radio, I would say back in the early 40s maybe. Pretty interesting watching him operate that old ham radio and making a contact. They actually use a double throw switch between transmitting and receiving. It was pretty cool. But what I got a kick out of was the terminology. It's pretty well much what we use today. So if you get a chance to look at it, anybody out there that wants to see it, it's an Andy Hardy's clip off the old time series. I don't know how many people remember it, but that's about all I have for tonight. So this is KC1NQR, back to net control.
So that was Andy Hardy, Hardy or Hardie? Which way are we on that one?
That would be Hardy. D is in Delta.
Sounds good. I'll have to look that up myself. It sounds like it'd be just downright interesting. Thanks for that. Oh goodness, I lost my spot again. Thanks for that, Brian. Let's take it to Waylon Wyndham, KC1HJN, for anything at all. Out to you, Waylon.
This is KC1HJN. So what I'm gathering is it sounds like I should be able to, as long as I can get it a good 5 feet above the roof level on my antenna mast, I should be fine. It's not 30 feet tall or 33 feet tall or whatever, but it should be good enough, and it's above all the other roof structures enough so that it should provide a somewhat accurate measurement. But once I get my tower up, I could probably put it up higher. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it would affect the temperature reading too much, being 33 feet high, but it might not. I'm not sure how much it'll affect that, but we'll have to see, and I'll have to experiment a little bit with the placement and look through the manual, see if it said anything about it, because I don't recall it saying how high to mount it. But thanks for running the net, Paul. Happy New Year to everybody. This is KC1HJN.
Sounds good, Waylon. Yep. If it, I'm not exactly sure what your roof looks like, but if you mount it out on the gable end, usually there's a vent right there for your attic. So you may want to try to clear that as much as you can, or else any escaping heat from the attic may affect your temperature readings as well. Yeah, it's always a tough gig. It's just like an antenna, the old DBI, the isotropic antenna, which is fictitious because you're always going to have feed lines. You're always going to have something affecting the radiation pattern. Same thing with the wind direction and wind speed. Even if you get the thing, 40 feet in the air on the end of a tower, you still probably need to hang it out off the end of a strong arm just to get it away from the tower, because the wind is gonna curl around the tower. So it's like all you can do is what you can do, and the heck with the rest. So good luck with that. Let's take it out to Ben in Buxton, KC1HBL, for anything at all. Out to you, Ben.
Yeah, nothing further here, Paul. It's good to hear a nice turnout tonight, and thank you for running the net. Back over to you, KC1HBL.
Sounds good, Ben. Thanks for joining. It's always a pleasure to hear you. Neil, out in Paris, if you could turn your power up a little bit, because the last time it was rough. So if you could turn your power up and come back, it's your turn again. NB9D, out to you for anything at all.
That's NB9D, Neil in Paris. We're on the echoing. And what happened was we were running low power. We were swimming at low power, and we were transmitting high power, but low voltage, and swimming at low voltage. But anyway, well, it doesn't get much lower voltage than this. Little cell phone running Echolink. And just want to say thanks for having KC1JMH for setting up the Echolink. And yeah, of course, I want to give a shout out to our friend Tim, W1TGG, and the Radio Nerds YouTube channel. And yeah, I think that's a wonderful idea, and it's pretty neat. And you're really excited about amateur radio, and we sense a lot of enthusiasm out here, and we're really glad to be a part of that. And well, back to net, NV9D.
KC1JMH link.
Yep, you were in there a lot better this time, Neil. Thanks. Thanks for that. Let's take it out to Frank down in Plano, Texas. KR1ZAN for anything at all. Out to you, Frank.
Thank you, Paul. This is KR1ZAN, Frank in Plano. I have a comment on the noise problem that was commented on. He said that the noise was on 80 meters and 40 meters. I had a similar problem. I'm just trying to relate this to a problem I had. There was a nearby sodium vapor light. Now, mine occurred at night when the thing triggered because of sundown. But I've also had some friends that had a similar issue when a business opened up in the morning and they turned on their sodium vapor lights in a warehouse. Actually, it was a timer doing it. If you have these sodium vapor lights, use an arc inside to vaporize the sodium. And if one of the tubes is failing, it can run up to almost 2 hours before the thing finally gives up or times out itself. So that's something to consider. That's just the only comment I have. So I won't belabor here. Thanks so much for running the net, Paul. Sure do appreciate it, and like to thank Brad, KC1JMH, for the Echolink. It's been enjoyable visiting with everyone and hearing so many comments. I always learn something from all the different inputs everyone makes. Again, Happy New Year to everyone, and I hope to be here more often. So back to net, KJ6JBH, this is KR1ZAN 73.
Sounds good, sounds good. Thank you, Frank, for joining. Let's take it out to BJ down in Kennebunk and N1 BJX for anything at all. Out to you, BJ.
Thanks, Paul. N1 BJX. I think all I have is just a response to the gentleman that was asking about the client, the open source ICOM client. And the name of that is Cap and Hang. That's Kilo Alpha Papa Papa Alpha November Hotel Alpha November Golf. Cap and Hang. And that basically implements the RSBA1 protocol, the client protocol, so you can connect directly to the 705 from a Pi or anything that you can compile the client for. So maybe even FreeBSD, I don't know. I've run it under Ubuntu, ran fine. And I do know that people have compiled it to run on Raspberry Pi. So that worked great. And it did it wirelessly, right? So you can connect to, you can enable Wi-Fi in your 705 and then just connect from whatever client you want. And you can do FT8, and it basically gives you a virtual sound card on the box that you're trying to operate from. And of course, it gives you virtual cat control all over the network. I really wish that was possible on the 7300. RSBA1 is pretty useful for the 7300 because there's no server, right? So you've got to run RSBA1 on a connected desktop if you want to be able to operate that 7300 remotely. But it's nice for the 705 that you don't have to do that, right? Like you literally just connect right over the network and even Bluetooth. I think you can also operate cat control via Bluetooth. I'm not sure about audio. Well, probably audio too, right? Because it's Bluetooth. So haven't experimented with that, but Cap and Hang does work. It works great. I tried it once, but again, I don't really work QRP digital modes. Not yet. I just don't really have much of a desire to do it. So I think that's pretty much all I have. Yeah, ham radio related. I'm getting a new call sign next week, so hopefully the one I'm asking for will come in. So you will no longer hear N1BJX, but I'll announce the new one maybe on the next net. So we'll catch everybody next week and have a happy new year. Stay safe and healthy. N1BJX.
Sounds good. Thank you, BJ. Let's see here. Before I go any further, Nick, did I somehow skip over you? KC1MSR. Did I skip over you on the second go-round?
KC1MSR, no, Paul. You got me? Yeah. All set. KC1MSR, back to that.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You repeated Brad's phone number. Gotcha. I remember now. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Was it, where am I? Roger. Roger, did BJ give you the information you were looking for?
This is NK1I. Yeah, that's perfect. I'm going to go ahead and look at that cap and hang and see if I can get it loaded on one of my pies and see what happens. Sounds very interesting. It's something's got a lot of information. I didn't realize the 7300 and the 705 were so different. I was reading today. I've only had the 705 for a couple of 3 weeks now. That is a server, and I didn't realize. I guess the 7300 is not a server. Some interesting. Might be an interesting topic someday. Is how these things work. But yeah, very helpful, Paul. Thank you. KJ6 JBH Net Control NK1I.
Sounds good. Thanks, Roger. Just wanted to double check on that. Let's see here, Jason. You're on the list still, so we'll take it out to Jason out at Long Island to see if you want to chime in on anything at all ham radio related. So out to you, KB1 OSN. So I guess Jason stepped away. So as previously indicated, so we're talking about this coming Wednesday, which is 6th January, between 6:30 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. Go ahead and monitor this repeater. If this repeater is all tied up with Skywarn, jump on over to the Westbrook repeater, which is on the 27. Was it 147270 or something like that? The 27 repeater, and chime in, and hopefully we could give the scouts a run for their money here. So, so that's where we're at. So at this point, I'll go ahead and conclude the Newcomers Roundtable net for this evening. Certainly like to thank George W1QUI for the use of his repeater. Thank you, George. Works like a champ. We all appreciate what you do. Keep the repeater up. And you know what? For that matter, if you need any help at any point, need some muscle or something like that to go muscle something at the site, feel free to hit us up on the net, and we'll certainly conjure up some help to go up there and give you a hand. We do appreciate everything you do. So thank you. At this time, I'll say this is KJ6 JBH.